Hello legends, welcome back to the channel and the WRX street build project. As I mentioned in the last video where I point out all the little upgrades I'm looking to do, I'm going for a power upgrade and a tune once I collect all the parts. Speaking about parts, I am still collecting all of those, so in the meantime I thought I'd tackle some of the little things that are wrong with this car, but they do all add up to be a big thing. So I'm talking about all the little touch points, the steering wheel, the shifter, the rearview mirror, things like that. Those sorts of little things let the car down. So in this video I'm going to replace them so that when you step in the car it's got a nice feel to it. So without further ado, let's go. So in here I've got some issues. One of them is the steering wheel. It's not a nice thing to hold because, well, it's frayed, it's old, it's threadbare, it's starting to show its age. I'm also not very happy with this fluoro Subaru badge here. Look, and generally she's just a little bit tight in here. This thing's frayed a little bit. This chrome button's peeling off. This is torn over here. There's a hole that I can put my finger into. No finger, bro, right? Oh, and I've got a little crack here as well, and this doesn't lock properly anymore, so I'll be replacing that. The rearview mirror is delaminating, and so these little things just kind of let the car down a little bit, and today it's going to be about fixing all of those little touch points that, you know, the things you touch and hold either promote or degrade the driving experience. So yeah, I'm going to fix them, and while I do, I'm going to show you every step I'm going to take. So hopefully if you've got any of these problems on your WRX or Impreza of this era, hopefully you can follow these videos along and do these jobs at home yourself as well. All right, I'm going to start up the top and work my way down. So the first thing will be the rearview mirror. So here is my delaminating rearview mirror. I'm not sure if you can pick that up, but basically things like that are starting to happen where you know, this thing's going to get to a point where you're just not going to see out of it. So we're going to replace it, and the way to do that is you basically unclip it here. Now let me show you the new mirror. It's a genuine Subaru part. You can pick these up off eBay still, or obviously contact your Subaru dealership. But as you can see, this clips on and it comes with a little hook like so. You can kind of tell how it goes. It kind of sits in there like that, and the two legs are on each side of this little prong. So to undo it on the car itself, you can see where this piece joins this piece. We're going to leave that piece on the car obviously, but this we need to remove. So all we got to do is, we're dealing with that clip, that metal clip that's inside here. So all you got to do is push downwards and away, and this whole thing comes off just like that. So you can see that the interior here is exactly the same, and in there is the clip that we're dealing with. Now because I've got a replacement, I'm going to replace this clip as well. Undo one of the prongs and then undo the other prong. There we go. Now you don't have to do this obviously, I'm just doing it because I do have a new clip, and I'm just going to slide the new one in here. There we go. And then I'm going to take the new mirror and basically slide it on. So that is on nice and firm. Final adjustments. Wow, this thing's much stiffer. You can really tell the difference between the old and the new. This back mechanism here is a lot stiffer on the new ones, but yeah. There we go. That's how hard that was. It took all of 30 seconds, and we've got a nice little upgrade here. Everything looks nice and new, brings up the value of the car, gives you a much nicer driving experience. All right, let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing I want to do is tackle this steering wheel. We need to take the steering wheel off. To do that, the first thing, very important, is disconnect the battery. So pop the hood, find your battery over here, and using a 10mm socket, disconnect your battery. Okay, so now the next thing to do is wait. Wait about 10-15 minutes to make sure that the battery is completely drained. You do not want to touch the steering wheel while the battery is connected or is charged, because you're going to be tampering with the airbag, and you don't want that going up in your face. No one likes a concussion. So while we let that battery drain, let's have a look at the new steering wheel. There is a little bit of wear on it, but it's not too bad at all. And all you're going to need to put this on is undo 2 bolts, and then of course we'll have to undo the main nut. I've also got a replacement sticker ready to go for the airbag badge that goes in the middle of the steering wheel, about there. So to get the 2 nuts on either side of the steering wheel out, you're just going to need a T30 hex socket, and you will find the 2 access points on the back here. So right in there will be a T30, and there's another one on the other side as well. So with those 2 nuts undone, should be able to pull the airbag away. And then back here, there's going to be this connector here in the middle. So just pop something into the yellow prong over there and pull it away. Once you've got this yellow part loose, you should be able to pull this away just like so. You've also got an extra little cable over here. So just pull that away. There we go. So now that that's undone, we can take this over to the bench. And the next thing I want to do is obviously be very careful with this. This is an explosive device, but I want to get rid of this fluoro sticker. It's not really my cup of tea. What I'm going to do is peel this sticker off. Someone's obviously added this, and I'm just going to get rid of it. It's looking better already. I can see why somebody added this adhesive, this Subaru logo. It looks like it is starting to fray. They attempted to add their own little style or design to it, just to cover this up, and that's what I'm going to do. I've got myself a red replacement because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like a red theme going on over here. So yeah, I'm going to continue that. So I got this online. You can find these on eBay fairly cheaply. They're only a few dollars. And yeah, this has got a nice little 3D gel badge embossed look to it, and it's red, so suits the style that I'm going for. It comes with a cleansing pad to make sure that the adhesive label sticks really well. So as you can see, a lot of dirt is coming off of that. There we go. I'm going to give it another go in the surrounding area, just to make sure that nothing really is going to stick to this that shouldn't. Give that a minute to dry. Alrighty, so moment of truth. You're only going to get one real shot at this, so make sure that it's on nice and straight. Done. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now that that's ready to go, let's take off the steering wheel off of the car so we can put on the new one. We've got to undo this nut, and then there's a couple of clips just up here holding the control buttons on either side. Okay, so to get this clip undone, you just push in here and pull out, and that removes it from that socket over there. And this one connects to both sides of the steering wheel buttons. The only thing left should be this center nut. So let's get that undone. So this will be a 17mm, so 1/7. Now, if your steering wheel doesn't come off immediately, do not keep doing that. And the reason I say that is because you can damage your steering column, and I've experienced just that with another car. So don't bang on it, think about it. There's stuff in here, electronics and all sorts of pivots and bearings and joints and stuff, so you don't want to wear that out by just smacking your wheel. There are these really simple devices that are very cheap at auto parts stores called steering wheel pullers. Just do yourself a favor and invest in one of those. They're a lot cheaper, like maybe 20 bucks, as opposed to replacing your steering column because you've been smashing on it. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to pull out my steering wheel puller. I'm going to attach it here, and you'll see that this thing comes off nice and easy. And here it is, really simple device. All it is a couple of bolts Alright, so I got the steering puller set up here, and all you're going to do is you're going to wind on this center, and there she goes. So that is now loose. Now, did you see how much force there was when this thing popped? So essentially, to get this off, you would have had to use a lot of force with your hands, smashing this wheel, banging this wheel, potentially damaging your steering column. You think about all those joints and things in there, you don't want to damage those. This thing's done its job. Just unwind the nut. You should now be okay to lift this away. And there we go. Alright, so back at the bench, there's a couple of things we need to do. This is the new wheel, and obviously we're missing a few parts. The buttons over here are missing, and also the back cover from the original steering wheel is missing. So we're going to transfer all of this onto here. To begin with, you got two Phillips heads over here, so we'll quickly undo those. And then we'll just unclip the wiring harness here for these two controllers, and once you lift this up and just undo this prong, this thing will fall away. So there it is. There's our plastic shroud for the rear, and now we're going to remove these two controllers here. So if we flip this around, you'll find two more Phillips heads. So just let these fall away like so. And now we can remove our old steering wheel. So it's just a reverse process. I'm going to take the new one and flip it around and place this up in here. I'm going to take the Phillips screwdriver. And I'm going to flip this around. Check that my buttons are good, and yes they are. So now we reattach this, and it couldn't be simpler. So we slot the wiring harness for the controls back into their place. We reattach the bottom section here, and we put the two Phillips screws back in, and this is ready to go back in the car. Okay, so back at the car, just feed through the airbag wiring and drop the steering wheel back on. We'll plug the harness back in. We'll put the nut back in on the center. Now remember, this nut doesn't need to be super tight. Just zip it up basically, because the taper will hold everything in place anyway. So I'm going for pretty much that much. That's gonna do it just fine. Oh, by the way, I did notice I'm missing a couple of screws in here. They don't make a big impact really, because all they're doing is holding on this rear plastic cover. So there's one here, and a couple in the center that clearly this car was missing. So yours will have those, but I'm just replacing those as well. But yeah, they don't make much of a difference really. It's only holding this rear plastic cover on, but we'll put some in here just so that we can say we did things properly. There we go. Alrighty, so that's tightened up, all the bolts are in. We are ready for the airbag. So the same dealio as before with this. Plug everything in. 1, 2, and push this in. And then you're ready to just slot this in place. And then it's time to tighten the 2 hex screws on each side. Don't forget to reconnect your battery. Beautiful. All right, let's move on to the next thing. This center console lid. I've got a brand new one out there, and I've got that from eBay, and it's going to replace this broken one that I've got here. As I said, mine is cracked and it doesn't really close properly anymore. So this is going to be a real nice upgrade, also because that one is leather bound and red stitched, unlike the original, which is just a black piece of plastic. So let's put it on. And to do that, we're gonna have to start in the back seat. So I've got my new cover here, and this is the area we'll be dealing with. Now, to change this rear cover, really, you're only going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and a plastic prying tool. So just reach underneath and pop this off. And within here, you're going to find one screw. So get your Phillips head and undo that. And now that that screw's out, we should be able to take this plastic trim piece off. So now that that trim piece is off, we can see the 3 screws here that hold the lid on. So take your Phillips head and take these 3 screws out, and you should be able to just lift this away. So now simply take your new cover, place it on top, reinsert the Phillips head screws. Once those are tight, take your trim piece and put it back in place. Put the Phillips head screw back in, and this trim piece goes back on. And that's it. One perfectly good center console armrest, and it matches the seats. Look at that. Let's take care of this shifter boot and this shifter next. This is frayed, and this thing is torn. You know, it's coming apart. It's got a few years on it, so it's letting the car down. So to remove this, you just need a plastic remover tool again, and just go around. So once you get it started, the whole thing will come out fairly easily. Okay, should have worn gloves for this. Okay, so once that's lifted up, you can just unscrew this shift knob. Alrighty, so there we go. The whole thing comes off as one unit, and you can see here all the little plastic tabs that hold this thing in place. Here's the old boot and the shifter, and basically what you're going to need here is some fabric adhesive. So you can pick this up. This brand is what I use, but there are many brands. You can pick this spray adhesive up at most auto parts stores. The other thing you're going to need is a good set of work gloves. So these nitrile gloves are something that I sell on my website. You can get them at horusworks.com. I don't have a lot left, so if you do need a pair, yeah, act quickly. But basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be gluing this onto this trim piece over here, this plastic retainer piece as it were. So the first thing we're going to have to do is take this off. We're going to turn this inside out. To remove this shift knob, just take this retainer ring off, and then this slides out. So we'll put this to the side. There's a bunch of tabs going all the way around, which hold this thing in place, and then this slides off. So this is the retainer ring we're keeping, and it slides into your center console like so. Okay, that was a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie to you, and let me show you why. So I've used scissors and a Stanley knife and obviously the glue to get this replacement boot onto the plastic trim piece. But the reason this thing was so tricky is because the leather replacement boot is actually a lot stiffer than the original factory boot, which is very thin and very pliable. But this aftermarket one is genuine leather. It's not synthetic like the original, and it's a lot thicker and harder to work with. So you're going to have to use, yeah, a little bit of muscle strength and stretching and just some creativity basically to get this thing on there. The other problem is this boot is a little bit shorter than this one. This curls over quite well and attaches to this plastic trim piece, but this I found to be a little bit too short. So much so that if I remove a couple of these clips here, you'll see what I mean. I managed to get the boot folded over and attached to the hooks, much like the original. So the original has these little tabs that have little hook points on them, and I managed to do that on this side twice and on the opposite side twice as well. But as you can see, everywhere else I found this shifter boot to be too short, so I had to use the glue instead to basically glue the leather trim piece onto the plastic retainer, because there wasn't enough material to fold it over and hook these things in there. But in any case, the glue seems to be holding, so that's pretty good. So the only last thing I'd like to do is get my new shift knob, which I found used for a really good price. These are about $160 brand new, but I got it for $75, so I'm pretty happy with that. But basically the way these attach is like so. So on this end, you push this through, and then basically just turn this inside out like that, so that your shifter knob is in there. And then you're going to use this retaining ring to hold everything in place. So hopefully I won't break this. That's a really tight squeeze. I'm just going to give it one last go, see if I can use this factory piece. If not, we'll use a zip tie. So let's have a look. Yeah, that's just too tight. I'm pretty sure I'll break this if I try too hard, but that's all right. That's what these things are for. There we go. That's all done. I'm ready to go back on the car. All right, so let's see how this fits. Okay, here it is, moment of truth. Let's see if this slides back on easy enough. But I think what I need to do is to screw on this shift knob first. I'm just gonna lift this up. Gonna screw this on until it stops. Okay, I think that's good. Moment of truth. Oh, it's very tight. Oh, I tell you what, this thing is very tight. And I mean very tight. So tight, I'm actually worried about breaking it. Oh, yeah, look at this. Okay, it's in, and look, here's my honest take on this. Does it look better? Yeah, it looks 1,000 times better. It looks really good, but I'm not 100% happy with it. The leather is a lot thicker than the factory synthetic leather, which has caused the gap around the shifter boot to become very, very small. So it was quite hard to press this thing into place. And also, I think what this is going to give me now is some noise. So I'll see if that dissipates over time, but just be aware it's a tight fit, and you're gonna need to do a little bit of fandangling to get it in there, to get all the clips to clip back in place. Just go gently, be very careful so that you don't break that retaining ring that the shifter boot attaches to. But it looks good. All right, time to get the rug to match the curtain. Let's do the handbrake lever next. So with this handbrake lever, like I said earlier, there's a couple of issues that I've got with it. The chrome button has delaminated, it's peeling away, which looks terrible, and this shifter boot is torn. Now that we've done everything else, we really do have to take care of this to get it to match everything, so let's get to it. So you can see how the shifter boot attaches to the center console here, and it's just clipped in. So we've got some trim removal tools here ready to go. So once you've got one going, usually the rest will follow quite easily. Yep, there they go. So now that that's loose, you can literally flip this forward and just pull it away. The other thing I'll do is I want to get this chrome button replaced. So to do that, first I've got to remove this. Really, you just got to use a bit of brute force. Oh, that's on there. That's on there really tight. Oh, okay, got it. I know why it's so hard to take off. It looks like it's actually glued on. But yeah, persevere because it will come off. But this is what I want to change. Luckily, I found a spare one at a wrecker's yard. Here it is. So this is not in the best condition, but it's not too bad either. It's a lot better than mine anyway. I got the mechanism with it so you can see how it goes. You won't actually need this part. I just got it so that I can show you that it screws on. Can you see the threads? So this thing just screws on and off like that. So here we are back at the car. So I've got just a pair of grips here to help me get this started. Now I don't care what condition this button is going to end up in at the moment because I'm throwing it away anyway. There we go. So that button is toast. The other thing I'm going to do is just drop on some silicone spray. So this will just make sure this new button goes on there nice and easily. I want to make this as slippery as possible because I'm trying to save the chrome film on the end of this. So you can see here how it's already starting to peel a little bit. So I'm being really careful and I'm hoping to get this on there without making this damage any worse. Okay, I'm a lot happier with that. Like I said, compared to my one, this is in a lot better condition. It's not perfect, but it's good. And I think this little damaged piece here, I think once I slide this on, this will hide that little piece there, so I'll take it. Back at the bench, the first thing we've got to do is separate this old handbrake boot from the plastic surround, and that's easy enough. This one is glued to the plastic, so just find a place to start, like there, for example, and just go around and unpeel the whole thing. So that's our new one, and as you can see, it's been cut and tailored to match the old one, sort of. This is aftermarket, so much like with the shifter boot, this handbrake boot will take a little bit of fantangling to get on here, but basically what we're going to do is put it in here. Beautiful. All right, so now we know that that fits really good. I'm going to put on some gloves and get gluing. And now it's time to let that rest for a little bit. I'm gonna give it about 30 minutes and then it's time to finish this puppy up. So let's see if it's worked. Yep, everything's looking good here. All right, so at this point, I think it'll be easier to feed this on here as opposed to on the car. So I'm just gonna put this on. Ooh, you are gonna fit on, right? This is definitely a tight squeeze. Whew. There we go. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's go put this on the car. So we just slide this back on. And look at that, that's looking really good. Beautiful. All right, so now it's just a matter of clipping this in, and hopefully this goes in nice and easy. All right, that's all she wrote. Look at that, we've got a nice red stitch here. Everything's nice and tight. Beautiful. So there you go, my dudes. I hope you agree that these were some really nice, worthwhile upgrades on the Rexy. For me, the interior is just as important as the exterior. Consider this. Wheels, paint job, they're really nice to look at for other people, but where do you sit? Where do you experience the car? It's on the inside. So yeah, for me, sorting the interior out is just as important, if not more so. And these little jobs, I think, have done that. You know, I've now got a nice shifter knob to hold, the steering wheel isn't frayed, all the shifter boots, all the leather in there isn't torn or cracked, so it's a nice place to be. It's a nice car to experience, and dare I say it, she's starting to hide her age a little bit. But in any case, if you've got any issues like this, I hope this video helps you step by step go through this process as well, and you know, change your mirror or your steering wheel or whatever you need to do. This video should help you out. And look, it's been a windy, not very nice day here today, and I had fun. I spent some time in my garage and I've made my car better, which is very rewarding for me. So I do hope that you subscribe and follow along if you want to see videos like this where I show you how yeah, you can spend some time in the garage and achieve something that hopefully you're proud of. I'm definitely getting pretty proud of this car. But in any case, that's enough chit chat from me. That was my DIY video on how to sort out little interior bits and pieces. The mods list is coming along. Please consider watching the previous video where I show you what my plans are for a power upgrade on this car. I'm starting to collect those parts. I got a couple of little things left to go, but we're getting there. We're not quite there yet. So I think the next video won't quite be about this power upgrade, but we're getting close. I think what I'll do in the next one is going to be about the exterior, and more specifically, I'm gonna make this car look even better. So if you wanna see what that is, make sure you subscribe and catch the next video. I'll catch you then.